some unfortunate headlines over the last 4 years, and a night like tonight really reminds us what we can do when we work together, and we're looking forward to more good headlines.
It's been a very interesting 18 months as Premier, a minority government, the first one in a long, long time, a by-election in a critical constituency, the first one that really, really mattered in a long, long time. Worst fire season, then another worst fire season, then floods, then pipeline debates. It's been an ongoing series of events, and we have got up every day and focused on people. All the other stuff is noise, and we want to make sure we're delivering, and to have someone of Sheila's caliber in our caucus is very exciting for me, and a sigh of relief that we have replaced Leonard Krogh, a legend in this town, with the next legend, Sheila Malcolmson.
There's a feel of the atmosphere inside Nanaimo. BC NDP emerging victorious with the by-election. Our legislative reporter with News 1130, Liza Yuzda, was there and is still there this morning. Liza, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great job with City News last night and the coverage we were able to see and hear. Your reaction to the energy and atmosphere in Nanaimo, given the results that just came down.
It was so exciting in that room, and it was really interesting throughout the night, because earlier in the evening we were at the NDP headquarters, at Sheila Malcolmson's headquarters, and it was tense in there. It was an hour before the polls closed, and there were still volunteers out driving people to polls, and you could tell that they were concerned at which way this was going to go. Normally this is considered a safe NDP seat, but they were really concerned. Premier Horgan there talking about Leonard Krogh. This has been a long-time NDP seat, but they were worried. And so when we got to where they were doing the potential celebrations at the end of the convention center, people were sort of tepid when the polls started coming in. They were like, and then people just started going crazy when the NDP were pulling ahead, and it was absolutely electric in there. You could just hear the screaming and see the cheers there. It was really exciting, and it was one that it was pretty clear that no one in the NDP took for granted that this win was coming their way.
Well, the significance of the results cannot be understated given what this means for the balance of power with the BC Legislature. And when you were talking to Sheila Malcolmson, did you get a feel of what the priorities are in Nanaimo even before looking at the greater picture of what this means for BC?
She was talking about when she was door knocking, and all candidates here and volunteers from all parties did a lot of door knocking in this by-election, far more than you would normally see in a situation like this. She said what she heard were that people were saying that they were feeling some relief for childcare, because childcare is a big issue. Lots of families, very residential up here. That was a big one, and also housing, because it's tight here in Nanaimo, and we always think of Metro Vancouver, but it's also tight over here, and so that people are going to get some relief. We've heard a lot about the spec tax and the speculation tax coming in, because Nanaimo is one of the cities that people are going to have to deal with that, and was that adversely affecting them? And I heard that she said a lot of people were quite pleased with that because it was going to make an influence in the housing here. And I even talked to Andrew Weaver last week, the Green Party leader, and he said he was hearing that on the doorstep, and he was a little bit surprised that people were really not that fussed by it.
Well, there's conversations about spec tax. We heard about childcare. We've heard about housing with City News' coverage. But overall, when you look at steps now that we have this result, the work that will be done in Nanaimo, any indication from the Premier of what the first things will be for priorities?
For Nanaimo particularly, his greater that he's talking about is the greater arc of what they want to do, and that's continuing with what they've been doing, focusing on childcare, focusing on making housing more affordable throughout the province, working on climate change. He gave a big shout out to Green Party leader Andrew Weaver, because the Greens did not have a great night last night, but he said, the focus of this NDP Green Alliance, a large part of that is what the Green Party brings to it with this climate plan and how to move forward so that we're going to have a future that's not suffocated. So that seems to be, those things seem to be what he's focused on, is what he's been focused on all along. And it just makes it a whole lot easier now because they have, a couple seats to buffer them versus what they would have if the Liberals had taken the win and they would have been tied.
Well, I think it takes the pressure off a provincial election here in 2019 alone. Well, listen,
sure.
Lisa, now's your time to take a nap. You've done some great work for us. Thanks so much for waking up this morning and letting us know how it all went down.
We're talking to Liberal leader Andrew Wilkinson in an hour and a bit, so we'll have that for you too.
Okay, we'll stay tuned for that on City News. That's Liza Yuzda, legislative reporter for News 1130. We'll take a